You can find out more about my guests' printmaking workshops on the Creativity Found website. Simply visit creativityfound.co.uk/Gerry Coles. Plus, there's a handy link in the show notes.
It's just a magical art form, and I love it. Absolutely love it. So after that, there was no stopping me. I just kept going. I shall throw this in. The Royal Academy Summer Exhibition is a long-term dream of mine.
Hi, I'm Claire, founder of Open Stage Arts drama and singing classes for adults. Lots of the adults who come to our classes and online events are looking for a creativity that has been put on the back burner during their sensible grown-up years. I have found this to be true among other creatives too, so I've decided to find out more about the painters, photographers, writers, printmakers, actors, crafters, teachers and more who have found or refound their creativity later in life. In this episode, I meet Gerry Coles, an Oxfordshire-based linocut printmaker. I chatted with Gerry in her conservatory studio, surrounded by her sketches, gouges, inks, plates, rollers and prints hanging up to dry. Let's discover how Gerry Coles found her creativity. Hi Gerry.
Hello. Hi Claire. Hi.
Hi. So your newfound art form is printmaking.
It is, yes.
Can you tell me briefly what it is you do and how you currently channel your creativity?
Okay, so I am a printmaker and my speciality is linocut. It's something I've found in the last 4 or 5 years. Never did it at school. Lots of people tell me now they had a dabble at school, but I didn't. And the linocuts I make are floral, usually, flowers, animals, trees, birds, that sort of thing. Very nature-based and very colourful. I use water-based inks, but they're big block, bold colours. And I have fallen in love with the process of making. I love the fact that when I make a print, I can make several, so I have ones that I can then sell if I wish to, or give away. It's just a magical art form, and I love it, absolutely love it.
Fabulous. So as you've just mentioned, you discovered this as an adult, so
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that later. Were you arty as a child?
Yes, yeah, I was. I always liked drawing, painting, mainly drawing. I was always with a pencil in my hand, sketching bits and pieces. Just really enjoyed it, and I guess the sort of the practice of doing it a lot made me better. I was sort of notably one of those kids who was reasonably good at drawing, and I remember my dad coming home from work. He works in an office with a big box of computer paper. Once the sort of when computer paper was a thing, with the holes punched down the side, and it was all perforated and joined up, and you fed it into the computer with a big box of it. So this heavy box, and although it wasn't very good quality paper, it was quite thin. It was just reams and reams of this paper. So I could draw to my heart's content, and if it didn't go well, I could throw it away and have another go, and another go. So I had the opportunity to draw as much as I liked, and I did. I took that opportunity. And then going forward, I did art O-level, and because I'm old enough to be somebody who did O-levels, and I did art A-level. And I was good at it, and I enjoyed it, but it just wasn't something that was presented to me as something that was a career. I probably put it in the category of hobby type things. I mean, I did go to university, and I'm trying to remember whether I actually considered doing art or not. And I don't think I really did. And I don't think it's the school's fault for not sort of pushing art. I don't think the school pushed anything in particular. I don't remember the careers service being fabulous at that time. I just think I didn't know anyone who was an artist, and I certainly didn't know anyone who was a successful working, paying the bills artist. So I think if you don't ever see someone doing something, you don't really consider it as a thing. I mean, obviously the art teachers were working in the art area, but I didn't really want to be a teacher to secondary school children. I can't think of anything worse. So it was never really a consideration of going into art at that stage in my life.
No. You carried on and went into a career doing something else, sciencey, I think, weren't you? Yeah, I was. Well,
I went into environmental health. So I did a sort of sciencey degree. I did biology and food science. Trained in environmental health. Did that for a few years. Then met my husband. We had children, and at that point, sort of made the decision to come out of that for various sort of lifestyle reasons. We needed. My husband had a building company. He needed someone to do the books and the admin. And it was a stay-at-home job, so that suited me. I could do that and then look after the children. It meant I didn't have to then be out of the house. So it absolutely suited us down to the ground, which is what I then did. And various other things along the way. We've got a small holding, and we still have them. And I was looking after sheep and pigs and chickens and various things, all of which kept me very busy and were good, but none of which were to do with art at all.
But I understand that the creative juices were still bubbling under the surface at that time.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, I've always, if people ask me, I would say, I love art supply. I love it. I can do it whenever I can. And I mean, I've dabbled in things over the years. I very much like fabrics and sewing. I've done patchwork, various fabric crafts. And also, so when my children started school, I used to love going in and bringing my bag of materials, or bringing my glitter and my cardboard and doing various things with them. And I used to be sort of like known as the go-to lady for coming in and helping make stuff and things. And there was a couple of different incidents happened while I was when my children were at school. The first one was they had a pop-up art show. As all the artworks were hung and I was sort of looking around it, it sort of dawned on me that there was some very, very good work and there was some less good work, but it just dawned on me that these were ordinary people coming in, people like me that were just doing art but still doing it, that not just talking about it or doing stuff with the kids and the Pritt stick and the glitter. They were actually doing it and bringing it in. And I felt quite cross, because I thought, well, you used to do that, Gerry. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you still doing it? Why are you fiddling around with the Pritt sticks? Anyway, so that was the thing. I do remember actually being quite cross with myself that I sort of let this go.
Yeah.
And the other thing was, and it's completely separately, I was coming in and was doing cards and Christmas bits and pieces with the children, and one of the TAs said to me, I bet you do some lovely stuff at home, don't you, Gerry, when you're not messing about with the children? And I sort of thought, no, I don't. And that really dawned on me that I just stopped. I don't really do anything for myself that I would call proper art, inverted commas.
Yeah.
And I just think those kind of things then started to maybe turn the wheels in my mind that, kick up the backside. Come on, you used to really enjoy this.
Yeah.
That sort of was the feeling.
Presumably that was a bit of an impetus for change. I don't know if the change happened right there. But what generally did change to allow you to allow yourself to start producing, do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right. It didn't change straight away. And I certainly wasn't consciously looking for, I need to find something I need to find an art form, because I don't think things work like that, do they? So what changed? So my children got older. They needed less input. I was sort of approaching 50. probably, like lots of people, thinking I need to perhaps do something that's a bit more for me,
Brilliant.
that kind of, not stop helping everybody else, because, my family still do come first, but maybe you need to just think, I need to put something back for me. Anyway, yes, so it didn't happen overnight. So I had probably a little bit more time on my hands. My children were more self-sufficient. They were doing their own things, needing less input from me. And this probably just about coincided with my visit to Bath. And we visited the Victoria Gallery, and they had an exhibition on of printmaking. And it was, I didn't know it at the time. I do linocut now, but it was actually woodcuts. But it's still the same relief it's the same relief printing. So it's a very similar form. And anyway, so I walked around this exhibition, and I was absolutely blown away by these woodcuts. Look at this.
Yeah.
Oh God, look at, it was something like, it was amazing. It really was a kind of light bulb moment, and you don't have that very many times in life, do you? It was kind of like, I love this, which then quickly sort of moved on to, I want to try this.
Amazing.
Because I thought, well, I am arty. I can probably have a go and do this. I probably can. So I thought, well, I'll have a go. Ordered a lino kit off Amazon. Because I thought you need more equipment for woodcut. Woodcut's slightly more involved. Lino you can buy very, very cheaply, very easily. Thought, well, I'll make a start. I'll do that and see how I get on. So I got this 20 quid kit from Amazon. Had a go. I had a very small piece, about sort of about the size of a tissue box, that sort of size.
Yeah.
Had a go, and I was really crap. So I thought, okay, so I was wrong. It's not for me.
Oh no.
So anyway, I just thought, okay, well, I've had a little go. Never mind. I mean, 20 quid down the drain. That's not a problem. Put it away. And I think it was about another year on, various not very exciting reasons, I got it out again. And I thought, I'll have another go, because maybe I didn't quite give it the proper go the first time. And this time I thought, well, do you know what I'll do? I'll copy the design that comes on the pack, because it sort of shows you what to do. I'll copy that rather than trying to do my own thing. I'll copy what it says. So I sort of did. I used the little gouges and the lino and did what it said to do. And it fell into place in my head. I thought, okay, I get it. Oh right, okay. Because I've been treating the gouges like a pencil and trying to draw outlines, and it hadn't, for some reason, it hadn't occurred to me that wasn't quite the way you approached it.
Yeah.
You need to sort of carve in light and dark. You need to carve away, but this time, so following a good example. I sort of, I see it, okay, yep, got it.
Oh, brilliant.
Right. So after that, there was no stopping me. I just kept going. I think I made Christmas cards for everyone that year with lino.
Yeah.
And everybody said, this is a different. You're doing lino now? Yeah, so, so it was good. It was very good. And it started to just work a bit bigger and do a bit more and a bit more. And then, of course, you suddenly realise that the tools you're working with are not very exciting, and you need to just upgrade a bit, and you gradually buy a bit more interesting inks, and it's a very easy hobby to get into, because you can start very basic, but actually, you do need a bit of the good kit helps.
Yeah.
It's like anything, the sort of the better quality kit does help you on your way. So it was very good.
So with kit in mind, tell me a bit more about your process of working and how you've kind of developed that or honed your craft over the last not very many years.
Not very many years, no. Okay, so, the tools are the main thing that allow you to carve better. Really, really good, sharp tools allow you to make very decisive lines. And then the other side of that is the lino. I mean, I've started off in a pack that I got for 20 quid was some sort of horrible, very rubbery, I think it's soft cut lino, and it's rubbery. You can cut in and you get a sort of a tail left, and you've got to sort of then clean off. So I've since then moved on to Japanese vinyl, which is what I nearly always use at the moment. So that's not the traditional. People think about lino. There's the grey lino with a hessian backing. It's not that I traditionally use. I use the Japanese vinyl, which I find is a really good texture. It's slightly slippery on the top, but it carves nicely and it holds the image very well. So that sort of thing, working through finding the lino that worked best for me was important. The good tools, and also upgrading from the ink that I initially used to a finer quality, a runnier ink. That's the one I've stuck with all the way along. I mean, I'm very happy with the ink that I use. It's a water-based ink, but I have dabbled in oil-based, but I'm not a huge fan of the oil-based. I prefer to go back to my water-based. Yeah, but also the other thing I've needed to do is to look at how I treat subjects for linocut, because the type of lino I do, I try to pare down an image so that it's sort of in a basic form, so that it's not like if you're doing a painting, you try and maybe include all the tones. If you're doing a sort of a brown butterfly, you'd include all the sort of maybe 17 different browns to do the different tones, and you sort of grade them. In linocut, the way I work, I try and see how few colours I can actually do something in, with it still being rendered and recognisable as what it is. Wow. So I'm always thinking, how can I pare that down? How can I use fewer colours? It sounds a bit strange, but it's the way I like to work, to really kind of narrow it down.
Each colour is a different
layer.
Yeah.
So, I mean, some people don't. Some people do very, very painterly linocuts. There's a lady who taught me the method that I use, called Alexandra Buckle. Her very recent work is very painterly, and she does beautiful grades of colour and that. Then it's you would have a job to tell it wasn't a painting. Her linocuts. I'm sort of veering in slightly the other direction. I just want. I really like linocuts that look like linocuts. Sure. I like to see some of the working lines that are sort of very characteristic of the linocut. And I just like them to look sort of blocky, big areas of colour. Yeah,
I know what you mean.
It's very hard. I'm not very good at talking about.
Well, that's because you do it.
I don't verbalise it.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's cool.
But that's how I try and work. Yes.
Yeah. With the red kites screeching overhead, and just before the rain came down, I asked Gerry where she got her inspiration.
I start with photographs. I'm out and about. I live right in the countryside. I'm out and about all the time with the dogs. I've nearly always got my phone, which has the camera on it, with me. So I'm always looking for shapes, light, shadows. I love plants. I love gardening. I love flowers, particularly. Natural forms, seed heads, you name it. I love anything that's natural. So then I've got this sort of stream of photos on my phone, and I'll have a think, I work quite closely with the seasons. So if we're autumn now, so I will be trying to think, autumn print would be lovely. I mean, the print I've just done is some autumn seed heads. So, I think it's quite nice to work closely with the season, because then if you're sort of putting stuff up on Instagram, people don't really want to see snowdrops in August, which is what I've just done. But I'll gloss over that one. Anyway, so it's quite nice to be seasonal. So once I've got all these photos on my phone, then it's coming up with a composition. So that is hard. I don't struggle with it, but I find you've got to work to get a good composition, because it's quite easy to sort of just think, I'll do a poppy seed head in the middle of the picture, that's it, and a black background, great. But that's not hugely interesting. So you've got to work to make sure you've got, maybe 3 seed heads, and are they lined up? Are they asymmetrical? And then what's going to be in the foreground? Is it going to be semi-realistic in like a hedgerow setting, or are you just going to focus on? So all those sort of things you've got to come up with an answer for. So I'm not sort of somebody who just takes a picture of a setting and thinks, right, I'll paint everything that is in that photograph. I'm making my own composition all the time. Because it's challenging, and also I am somebody that wants to rush that stage, because I don't enjoy the composition stage. I need to enjoy it more, because it makes the whole thing work if it's good. So I do need to start. So I will just get out with my pencils. I draw. I know what size print I'm going to make usually, or I know what things. So I've got the size, the piece of lino. I usually draw around it in pencil on my bit of rough paper. And I'm thinking, right, that's my composition that I need to fill in that rectangle. Mm-hmm. And I draw it right out to the right size, and I keep on drawing and rubbing out, adding bits in until I'm happy with that composition. Then I will trace it back, because then it has to be flipped to go on the lino. Because it doesn't. You don't always have to. Because nobody's going to say, that poppy seed head is the wrong way round, because clearly it doesn't make a difference. Yeah. But if it was writing, it would. It would make a difference. Or if it was a familiar landmark, it would probably make a difference. So with most of my work, it really wouldn't matter whether it was flipped backwards or not. Yeah. But it's something to bear in mind. Yeah. So transfer it onto the lino. And then I'm ready to start the exciting bit, which is the carving.
Because obviously you have to have that drawing, because you can't rub out when you're carving the lino, can you? So you've got to be definite.
It is an unforgiving process. There's no. It's not for wimps. Lino cutting. There's no going back. No. So it comes in practice. The sort of the holding the tools and being careful with the tools, not letting them slip away from you. That's but sometimes it can happen, and sometimes it still does. Sometimes I cut out a bit and I think, flip. Yeah. But usually you can creatively disguise it, or turn it into something else. Yeah. You can usually, there are ways around it. It's nothing's. And at the end of the day, it's only lino, isn't it? Yeah. Nothing's irreplaceable. So you can usually work around stuff. I will normally make 1 or 2 errors, and usually if I take you back through all my lino cuts I've ever made, I can point out all the mistakes in all of them. Yeah. But most people wouldn't notice them, because they're not looking for them. Yeah. So, and I don't point them out. No. I do not. It is not something I do, because why would I? Yeah.
You started exhibiting and selling work, and have been invited to join the Oxford Art Society. Yeah. All of which must have boosted your confidence.
Yeah, it did. Well, the huge joy with printmaking is that you make more than one thing. So you have your linocut plate, and you may have 10 copies of something. You may have 100. I don't work like that. I usually make editions of probably 10, 15. So you've got these 10, 15 copies to sell, to give away, to do what, to prop the table up with, to do whatever you like with. So I very quickly thought, I could enter little local art shows. So what I did was I googled all the local town names and put art after them. So I did Watlington art, Tame art. Loads of results came up, and most people will find that most towns have an art show. Most bigger towns, even if it's something, a little pop-up show in a school, like I was talking about, and most of them don't have a selection process. So you just self-select, and if you think your work is good enough, you go along.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the first ones I did, I had my work framed, and everything looks nice when it's framed, and turned up, and it's my stuff's about sort of A4 size. You can imagine me turning up with these couple of things in the back of my car, and saw these big beardy blokes coming in with enormous oil paintings.
Yeah.
And I suddenly thought, what am I thinking? What were you thinking, Gerry, you stupid woman? These beautiful big oil paintings, and it's me, here's my little tiny linocut, But it hung, and I sold something. And I just thought, it's a validation of what I do. Some people are prepared to pay money for what I do, and at that point it wasn't a huge amount.
Yeah.
Of course it wasn't, but it was a lovely validation that somebody liked what I did and was prepared to put a hand in the pocket. And I've since learned not to be intimidated by the beardy blokes with their huge oil paintings.
Good.
because you just think, well, there's something in art. There's something for everyone. That huge, fantastic oil painting won't appeal to everyone.
Yeah.
My linocuts won't appeal to everyone, but there's room for us all. So yeah, and it did feel a bit like imposter syndrome. Like, who am I to be who am I to be thinking I can sell art? You silly woman. You and your little scratchy linocuts. But as I said, there's room for everyone. So I've been doing those. I've been doing local shows quite often. I googled the Oxford art, and I came across the Oxford Art Society. If you have pictures that are accepted for 2 consecutive of their shows, you may be invited to join. And I was invited to join, which was a huge, amazing thing. It was wonderful. Very, very flattering. And so I'm a member now, and of course, it's sort of stupid COVID situation. Everything's been not very good at the moment.
Yeah.
But ongoing, there will be shows and there will be exhibitions, and it's all very good. Yes.
Speaking of ongoing, what are your plans for the future, near or far?
The Oxford Art Society, I've just heard their autumn exhibition is going to be online. So I'm just waiting to hear details of how that will actually materialise.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of things are going online. Next spring, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, to be taking part again in Oxfordshire Art Weeks, which is Oxfordshire's big arts festival. I've done it for 3 years now, 2 years with a group at Chalgrove, which was lovely, which was exhibiting with a group. There was pottery, woodwork, all sorts of things. It was lovely. But next year, so 2021, I am hoping to do a solo exhibition for Art Weeks, which will be very exciting because it's sort of the first time I've felt I've got enough of a body of work to be exhibiting by myself. Hopefully at home here. We'll see how that pans out. Who knows where we're going to be in May next year.
Absolutely.
Everything's uncertain, isn't it, unfortunately?
Yeah.
But that's one of the hopes. And of course, I shall throw this in, the Royal Academy Summer Exhibition is a long-term dream of mine. The lady who taught me taught me the linocut that I do, Alexandra Buckle, she has exhibited at the Royal Academy on more than one occasion. She managed to get one of her very first linocuts that she ever did in, which of course gave me huge hope for my small offerings, and I've entered several times and never been lucky. But it's one of those things that I think is on my to-do list, that one day I will get something in the summer exhibition. It's one of the world's biggest open exhibitions. Anyone can enter for a fee. and you get selected, and then you go and hang. But I've had one of my linocuts got through the initial selection.
Wow.
It was very exciting.
Yeah.
That was last year, but this year nothing. So we'll see. That's that would be a good thing to put on my CV, wouldn't it? I could retire happy if that happens. We'll see. Anyway,
Oh,
I
fabulous.
shan't hold my breath.
No. There are many, many podcasts out there. It's difficult to know where to start. So for each episode, I ask my guests for their recommendations. You're welcome.
One of my favourite podcasts is the Fortunately podcast, which is Fee Glover and Jane Garvey, two middle-aged women wittering. I think they would describe it as wittering on about life. They interview people every week, out on a Friday. That's just very, very, very entertaining, very light, very humorous. So that's Fortunately. And the other, I like a bit of true crime. Another podcast I like is The Missing Crypto Queen, which is all about cryptocurrency and intrigue. And it sounds like, don't think that's my sort of thing, but it's brilliant. I would really ask you to have a listen. The Missing Crypto Queen on BBC Sounds.
Okay.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Oh, brilliant. That's brilliant. Good one. Oh, thank you, Gerry. It's been really, really lovely to hear everything and to talk to you, hear about you and your newfound creative outlet. So how can other people find you and find your work?
The best place is probably my website, www.gerrycolesprints, Gerry Coles Prints, that's a Gerry with a G and a Y, .co.uk. So from there you'll be able to see all the other links to my stuff. I have an Etsy shop, which is also Gerry Coles Prints. I'm on Instagram and Facebook, but if you go to my website, that'll give you all the links to everything else.
Oh, brilliant, Gerry. Thank you so much. It's been lovely to visit your studio and chat. And
it's been lovely to chat with you. It's been nice to tell somebody all about what I do.
Brilliant. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for listening to Creativity Found. If your podcast app has the facility, please leave a rating and review to help other people find us. On Instagram and Facebook, follow @CreativityFoundPodcast, and on Pinterest, look for @CreativityFound. And finally, don't forget to check out creativityfound.co.uk, the website connecting adults who want to find a creative outlet with the artists and crafters who can help them tap into their creativity.